Hello everybody and welcome to Organian's Puzzle Box. In today's video I have a special solution for all of you Unreal Engine users, or a solution that you probably don't even know that you need it. And it's called baking maps. It allows you to bake textures that you've maybe painted onto meshes, or maybe you've combined different textures using noise patterns or all sorts of math inside a shader. So you've created what I would like to call a dynamic shader, meaning that it's got, high instruction count, or not necessarily a high instruction count, but it's using multiple texture sets, and thus it's building up on the cost of your VRAM, on instructions that need to be executed in the GPU, and so on. So what this does, it allows you to bake all that information into a texture set that then runs inside, onto your mesh, and it's just appropriate in terms of resource cost, and also, I guess, for shipping especially. Now, lately, I've been doing a lot of tutorials for the Surface Forge project, which is a tool for Unreal Engine where you can paint multiple layers and have puddles, snow, and so on onto the surface. And something like a baking feature is greatly needed in order to decrease the cost of your scene once you've actually painted it all and you're happy with it. Now, the Surface Forge is definitely a cheap shader when consider all the things that it can do, but especially if you want to ship the game, or if you want to make it for mobile or things like that, but a workflow like this for baking textures is vital, and a lot of people actually don't know how to do it, and especially they don't know how to do it for displacement. So this baking tutorial will show you exactly what the steps are and how to get displacement out as well. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment below, and yeah, I'm happy to help, and let's begin the tutorial. Okay, so for my intended purposes, I've created a few materials. I've got a baking material, the one that we're going to use to work on, and then we have some baked already materials, okay? Now, the baked material painted is currently empty, and the baked material noise is this one over here, and it's just a simple display of a red and blue color using a noise, okay? So this could be one of the most, easily encountered sort of dynamic shaders that you have. You have two textures or two colors or whatever, and you're using a noise to blend in between them. Okay, so this by default will be more expensive than just using a simple texture sample into a material if the blending is too complex, like you're using multiple nodes and math to determine this sort of noise pattern. Now painted, the one that's going to be painted, that can be even more complex, because then it's going to use a paint method, like a blend between multiple materials, and you'll see what I mean once I open it. So if we actually go over into the baking material, you could have two texture sets. So right now we have this cobblestone, which is a base color, normal, and ORD maps. Doesn't really matter what configuration you've got, but this is basically one texture set that's going into a set material attributes node, and then it's feeding into a name reroute called material A, right? You can find all of these nodes just by typing in, like set material attributes or the name reroute. And then what this is doing is going into a blend material attribute into the A channel. Then we have a vertex color, and we're just using the red channel for now as an alpha. And this is blending between this material and this material, which is a dirt material over here, right? So literally the same setup, right? Feeding into a blend material attribute controlled between the two layers by this red channel of the vertex color. So when we start painting in the vertex color, or we import a mesh with vertex color information on the red channel, then this will then decide which of these materials is being displayed. So if we then plug this into the base, if we plug this into the base color, you can't, because this is a material attribute. So in your shader, in your standard shader, when you click anywhere in the viewport, you will have an option here where it says use material attributes. So that just click that, okay? And then we can link this together like that. I'm going to press apply. Another thing that you want to do is, for example, enable tessellation. So if you enable tessellation and press apply, this will also mean that we are using the displacement from the B channel of the ORD texture, or any displacement that you might have. This obviously works well in Unreal Engine 5.5 and above, but you can enable displacement in earlier versions of Unreal Engine up to 5.3 and 5.4. Now, with that done, if we go back into our viewport, you'll notice that we do have in here a paint done between the cobblestone and this dirt, okay? But by default, if we go over into the modeling tools and we go to vertex colors, by default, what you will see here, right? You will see something like this. This is how your texture will most likely look like. Okay, it's because automatically the mesh imported without vertex color information will be painted in Unreal Engine across all three channels RGB as a value of 1. So you want to go into paint vertex color over here, and you want to erase that, right? If you press erase, you'll see that it's obviously just use the erase color. But in your case, actually, let me just reset all of it. So everything right now is actually, we're just not going to see the seams. Everything in here is just standard, right? So this is how your, let me just do that again. This is how your mesh will look with this composition. So in that case, it means that the dirt, layer B, is the one that's overtaking layer A, when the red channel is painted with a value of 1. So we go back into here, and if you press erase all, nothing will happen. And the reason why that's happening is because even though you got all the RGB channels here linked, the erase color is a white color. I don't know why Epic have done this. I have no idea why so many versions into the future of Unreal Engine and you still have this issue. So where you want to go is choose on the erase color, switch this over to black, and you also want to put this alpha to 0 as a good measure. This is something that it's not going to help you right now, but it would definitely help you if you were using the Surface Forge, for example. So I'm going to press OK, and when I click erase all, you can see now it's actually did erase this. Oh, and by the way, one thing that I forgot to mention is the material mode right now is set to original material. That's why we can see textures. But normally it's like that, lit vertex color. So it would have been fill white, you're then erasing it, or you can fill black if you want. Right, now, if you go at the paint color, we want to paint only on the red channel because that's the only channel that we're using in the material that we've just created. And you don't want to paint red. I would recommend that you paint white. And this means that because we're painting in the red channel and we're painting white, it will automatically add this red, okay? Now, if you press accept, the change has been done. If we go back into paint vertex color and you change from lit vertex color to original material, you can see that material. You cannot see displacement in this mode, but if you click accept, displacement will be there. And if this displacement isn't good enough for you, like you don't like how high or the height of the displacement is, you can go back into your material domain here and the tessellation and change the magnitude to something like a value of 8 and press apply. And now you can see that we are seeing that displacement properly, and it's quite nice, okay? But now we want to bake all of this stuff. And normally it's very straightforward. You just press the bake button and you're good to go. But displacement will not carry over. So we want to carry over all the channels that are of interest to us. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back into the baking material in here. And because we want to also bake the displacement, you'll notice that we do have the blue channel going into displacement, but that will not bake, because if you go on to bake materials here under the material slot of the mesh selected, you have a few options. You can, you got some mesh settings, and then you got the material bake settings. You got a resolution and what type of a bake you want to do. But if you press the plus button and you want to choose anything from here, you'll notice there is no displacement or height information. It's only these maps, okay? And because of that, you're kind of limited to how you can bake your displacement out. Now, what I recommend is that you use this emissive channel, and it's the one that I found works the best, okay? But right now, our emissive is not really connected in any way, so we have to tell it why we want the emissive channel. So we're going to go back into our baking material in here, okay? And when you see the displacement, which is in the blue channel, we'll put that into the emissive color up here, and then we'll do the same thing over here. We need to do it for both, because we were trying to get the displacement from both of these layers together, right? And we're going to press apply. Now you're going to notice that this has changed a little bit. If you go into the viewport as well, you can still see like the emissiveness is showing us where the height is, the highest height point, and that's why you're seeing that white. And then the lowest points have this, the color of the material. But this is incorrect because we can't bake like this. We're going to go back into our material in here, and we're going to change from a shading model from default lit to unlit. And then we're going to press apply. This is a bit tedious to do, but unfortunately it is the way to go. Now, you've got this done. this is what the displacement map will look like, okay? If you want to modify this in any particular way, you have to go back into the shader and modify the displacement value. Maybe you want to clamp it, you want to raise it, you know, that's a whole different ball game called remap if you want to do it. But, you know, Surface Forge obviously comes with remap functions already, but this is just a basic shader. Now, if we go and press the bake material, we're going to make sure we use the mesh data. Without this, the vertex color will be ignored, so you want to activate that. So we're putting the use mesh data on, then we're going here where it says diffuse, we're going to change this to emissive, and let's say for argument's sake, we're just doing a 496 by 496 you know, texture resolution. Then we're going to leave it as opaque and press confirm. This has now baked and a new material has been added to our mesh. This material doesn't actually exist anywhere necessarily saved that you can see, but you can open it from here, and this is very important, and I'll show you why. Now, before replacing this material with what you were using before, you want to double click this new material that's been generated with the bake, and this will open this material, and you can see in here the map that we've actually baked, which is this one, okay? And this is UV, it matters based on UVs. Like if the mesh's UVs will matter how this bake will be done based on the UVs of the mesh. If the UVs were smaller or twisted or whatever, then the bake would follow those UV islands or pattern. So now we want to right click and copy this texture. And we're going to go back in here into our content browser, and I'm going to Control V to paste that texture, and you can see that texture has been saved. Okay, now let's do the other bakes. So for this, we just have to revert this material back to default lit, and we're also going to be disconnecting these emissives here, and I'm going to press apply. And now we have to put that material back into the mesh, the original one, right? Click on bake again. And this time around, again, use mesh data. I'm going to get a diffuse out. We're also going to get a, let's say, a roughness. And then we're also going to get a normal. These are the most basic textures that we can get. We're going to put 496 by 496 as well. And I'm going to click confirm. This will create a new material that has now already added those maps on. I can then double click to open that material as well. And again, I'm just going to copy these textures. Let me just go back to where I have saved all of that, right? And I'm going to put in here, that's the base color. Then I've got the normal, and now I've got that roughness. Okay, so now that's all done. Now we are going to put this baked material painted. So I'm just going to put that material in there, which is currently empty, and I'm going to open it. Now in here, all I really need to do is just drag these new textures, right? This is the roughness. We've got the displacement, and we've got the base color and normal. Now all of these are just going to go in their normal, in their usual slots that you'd use, right? I'm not doing anything special here. I'm just putting them like that. Displacement is currently active, and we have a magnitude of 8. Remember, in the previous material, we were using a magnitude of 8, and now we're using a 4. But I'm going to put it to 8 just so I can show you what's happening. I'm going to click apply, and we go back into the Surface Forge, and you can see the texture is now fully baked. And it's got displacement on, although the displacement is a bit stronger. So if we put that baking material, that shader that was dynamic, if we put that on, you'll notice the bake is a bit smaller as opposed to this bake, okay? We can double click this and decrease that magnitude. This is because we're doing the baking through emissive, and that's why it's causing this issue. Okay, now we're gonna go back in here, and you can see they're virtually almost identical, okay? But in terms of like the pattern, the layer, the painting, all of that has now been saved. And again, UV centric, it mattered what UV layout was like. Now, why is this important? Well, if we Alt 8 right now, you can see this is how performant this material, this is how many instructions it has. This is the baked one, and this is the other one. This is the dynamic one. And obviously, it's not that big of a difference, but there is a difference. This scales up if you have a lot of meshes into the world and a lot of textures. Now, if you look at the Surface Forge here at the back, these materials are far more complicated. Like this one is using all sorts of things like puddles, and it's got like raindrops and all sorts of things. So this material is quite expensive, as you can see. These are not so expensive, again, Surface Forge, but they are lighter. They're not using all the full features, like multi-layers and whatnot. But you can see there's still quite a lot of material, you know, like instructions is quite high. But if you bake all of that, it will become as light as this. Obviously, this is now a brand new texture in your file. You don't have to bake them as 4K. You can bake them as smaller resolutions as well. This is the same thing here. Like you can do the same thing here. This is obviously another example. So if we open this material, we're just using a lerp that's got a noise texture inside between a blue and a red color. And they are feeding straight into this base color. And you'd be able to do the same thing. You could just simply bake materials and you could just, get the diffuse. You don't need the mesh data here because you're not using any vertex painting. And you could, again, get this as, I don't know, 1024 by 1020, 2048 by 2048. Press confirm, and then that bake is done. And now this is fully saved as a bake, and you don't have to worry about it taking, being as I said, dynamic shader. It's just now using this as a texture added to your mesh, right? And that's just how simple it is. But displacement has now been done as well. Now I'm going to show you something with the plane. So I do have a plane in here that says small UV on it. I'm just going to bring it up. I'm going to copy the location. And I'm also going to copy this rotation. And I can see it's got a scale of 4. So let me just copy that rotation and just do here a scale of 4. I'm going to pull it a bit like that over there, right? And now I'm going to take this exact baked material that you're seeing here, right? This one, and I'm going to drop it onto this. And as you can see, right, it's bigger on this mesh, even though they kind of look virtually the same, right? And if I put a baked material on it, it doesn't have the same paint information, the same vertex information as this one, but this is a brand new like paint, and the resolution is higher than the bake. When we put the bake, it's, it's clearly worse, right? And the reason why, well, it's not worse, I mean, the scale is still the same, but the reason why it's different is because if we go over into our UV editor in the mesh paint, in the modeling mode, and we go to UV editor, this is the UV for that mesh that we have selected in the world, this one. But if we do the other one, UV editor, this is this one. So the differences are quite clear. The UV on the mesh on the left is the island is smaller, thus less texel density can go into it. Thus the resolution of the texture is now decreased. Now, when you have a mesh that's got multiple UV islands and it's packed, maybe like a gun or something like that, then your texture resolution will take a hit. Your bake will also look different or maybe lower resolution than what your dynamic shader looked like. And one of the reasons for that is because your dynamic shader is sampling a texture that's maybe 4K and you're sort of like tiling it down or tiling it up or whatever. When you bake, you commit to whatever the UV layout and texel density of the other mesh that you're baking on. You're committing to that basically, to its UV parameters. And especially this is going to bite you a lot if your texture, your shader was using triplanar like the Surface Forge here is. So this is a triplanar material. It doesn't matter how big this mesh becomes. Those bricks will always stay the same. But once you bake it, those bricks will be the size, will be sort of baked down to the UV, the current UV layout of this mesh. And once you make the mesh bigger or smaller, those will scale up as well, and you will lose fidelity or gain fidelity depending on what you're doing. So if you understand Substance Designer or Substance Painter especially, then none of this will be special or different or difficult to comprehend. But that's just kind of how you do the baking of this in Unreal Engine. And again, you can do this for anything. Just as a side, just as a final note on this, whatever you do, make sure you do not, and I mean it, do not overlap UVs when you're trying to do this bake, especially when you're using vertex coloring and so on. Just do not overlap UVs because you will get errors in the bake and it will just ruin your day, let's say. Okay, and that was the tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you found something quite useful here. It's actually interesting how many tutorials are on YouTube about this process, but they're all kind of going, to certain extents, quite a lot of confusing information around it. I'm hoping I've not been confusing, and I hope I've been quite straightforward. I know it's a bit of a long video for this topic, but I really wanted to make sure that you fully grasp what's the underlying sort of process, and you understood what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I didn't want to bother or bore you. I just wanted to be thorough, and I hope I have been. Anyway, with that said, Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for your support and thank you for watching.